And we're live! Hello! Welcome back to another session of Out of Character. We're super excited to be back after the holiday season of Christmas and New Year. Happy New Year, by the way. It's 2021. Can we believe that? I have a feeling this year is going to be crazy again. But hey,
I have a feeling it's going to vanish again, just like every other year for the last 5 years. It starts and then somehow it's over.
And then
So,
it's like done.
yeah.
we're still alive. Quick announcements before we get started. Our session is tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and then 6 p.m. Mountain, I believe. And for further notifications and fun excerpts, you can check our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channel for replays and such. With all of that out of the way, I thought I could do a quick recap. Our last out of character session, we covered episodes 1 through 4. Can you believe it? We've done 6 episodes already, guys.
It's
Really?
progress.
I feel like we've done that many.
Mind ever?
Did we
I
ever,
was counting the other day. It was crazy.
Yeah.
ever do that many before? I don't know what number we got to with our other
I think it was like 14 before we were like,
Oh,
let's do this.
I have it in my notes somewhere.
Took us like 2 years, but
Yeah, it took us a long time to get there.
This is a commitment, so I'm sure we'll surpass 14 episodes. But hey, we're halfway there. But I thought we would do a recap of episodes 1 through 4 before we review episodes 5 and 6, just so we know where we've been and where we're at. I'm gonna have to read it because I can't remember. Our last we all arrive in Barinhold, where we meet in an inn and then meet and help the boy Cole, who later betrays us. After beating up some gang members who are after Penn's boat, we get called to the office of Sevik to explain why we beat these people up and then get taken to Oathtaker Losent, where we take the oath to become a Hand of the Vet. After getting some rest and forming a fan club in Barinhold along the way, we set off to redeem the wild. In the process, get asked to find a platinum mine for the Claylin family on the side while we're adventuring. As we make our way up the river and deeper into Angemar, we discover Sovam, a wounded sprite. After introductions, we decide to help her find the rest of her people and fight the Talaru. And that's where we are currently. After a brutal fight against the Talaru, we are now seeking cure for the pixies affected by the Talaru curse. Did I do a good job?
Yeah.
Good job of keeping it short and sweet. If I had done that, it would have taken 20
Episodes
minutes.
1 through 4. That was basically the synopsis.
Mhm.
So,
Started
Nope.
going into all the beginning stuff. I'm like, yeah, we did do that, huh?
I forgot about that.
and we're gonna review episodes 5 through 6 today. But you guys know the drill. We're not gonna jump right into it. We have a game. We like games. We're a group of gamers. Well, we all choose our different games, whether that be video games, card games, board games. I think I heard once that best is
Or
not
mind
a game,
games.
It's not card games.
I'm like, what?
I think I was writing your bio once, and then I figured out that you like hate anything other than card games, or unless it was that you're just a master at Uno. Or
I'm a master at most card games.
I'm the master.
I like other games. I like other games too, but
I like all games.
specifically fast card games. I'm like,
he's good at speed games.
She's great at speed games. That's why I don't play them with her anymore.
Well, I don't know if you would consider this a speed game, but we all know what game this is. Pictionary, but we rebranded it, and it is now called the Player's Choice. I went ahead and kicked out all the reward system stuff because I think we like this playing. So
Like
this is
just having fun.
And I sort of did an upgrade. As you can see, there is no whiteboard, just pretty wallpaper behind me. Ooh, that's smooth. I've upgraded from a whiteboard, and I did pre-drawings. They're not any better, even though I gave myself to draw them, some time to draw them. But we're gonna play. I guess I'm gonna have to pay attention. Are we gonna time this? Should we time this or just rapid fire? and keep.
I'm guessing we'll get to the answers soon enough that it won't be a problem, probably. So
Okay, you guys ready then? We're just gonna jump.
I'll try and help keep an eye on like hands going up and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, do we have to like raise our hand?
Yeah, I
before we
would just to
start it?
indicate like I think I got it, and we'll try to do like a whoever gets their hand up fastest thing.
Buzz. I buzz.
Okay, you guys ready? I feel really bad that you guys have to translate these drawings. I tried.
I feel so much pressure. Ooh, okay, I'm
Okay,
ready
you
now.
ready? Do you see that?
Just move it close. Is it a gnome? Is it the statue? Oh wait, I'm supposed to raise my hand.
Wicket, go.
I
Someone's
can't fully see what the other thing is. But
hair, I think.
is that when?
Oh, is it when it got set on fire?
That was my guess. I
Oh
raised
yeah,
my hand.
Britt had her hand up. What is it?
Yeah, Pim.
I think
That was my
that
guess.
was closer to what it is.
I was closer.
Yeah.
Is it when Wicked banged the thing and it flew her back or whatever? Is it with the statue? And oh, is it when Pim caught on fire?
No, we already get that.
Yes.
Here,
Okay.
I'll pull it closer. Can you see that?
Someone's eyes getting gouged out.
I don't know if it actually is the question.
Guys, what I've learned is I'm
Like, that's
bad at
Bitsy.
dictionary.
With her hair, that's Bitsy. But I don't remember Bitsy's eye getting gouged out.
It's
Is,
Storm.
oh, is it Bitsy using her vision thing?
Yeah,
Destiny.
yeah.
Destiny.
Checking
She's
for
trying to
Destiny.
Oh, Destiny had her vision, and the Star Lady showed up, and was,
Yeah.
Okay.
there's one. Okay, you ready for this one? This one should be easier. You ready?
Is that Baymax?
Is that our battle? It kind of looks like my crossbow.
I see a crossbow.
Oh, it's the vision thing she had with the snakes.
Yep, there we
Oh,
go.
that was my guess.
No
Okay,
more.
okay. One of my favorites. You ready? I actually tried really hard on this one. It reflects a lot of my art skills now that I've said it, but
That's when Anazriel is running with the stick.
yeah, that's it.
That's
This was me trying to actually do body. So then I did it though. Okay, this one you guys said
out of
it.
10 from Anasriel.
Yeah.
Pim on fire.
Burned to death.
You guys said it a couple times, so there it is.
Yeah, this one for sure is.
Do you think this is an accurate depiction, Rach?
It looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last one. We ready?
Go be a hero.
It's when Eagerly's trying to open the door, and then you said, "Good
Blows
job."
it open.
Right. I think this was pretty good. Like that's obviously Nazriel with her loot.
Mhm.
Or they aged like 30 years. Ah, the good old days when you guys were
Back when you were young and free.
I feel like I got better as I like kept drawing them. So the first one I did was just really
That's because with age comes wisdom.
right.
20
You
years
can
worth
thank me for
of
that.
drawing experience.
Speaking of age, though, something really weird happened to Nazriel last session. At the very end, we realized that we are old now. When we looked at the ghost, what is Nazriel's thoughts on being older?
Technically, Anasriel does not yet know. So I saw you age. I haven't had a chance to think about it yet.
Right.
To just knowing what I know but don't know. I feel like it's probably not as big a deal to me as it is to Ikerly.
Right. I agree.
I'm an elf and I live for hundreds and hundreds of years. And to be honest, I don't know if this is something I'm allowed to say or if I've said it before, but I don't know a lot of my background personally.
Mhm.
So I only know from a certain point on. So I know how old I am from that point on, and 40 more years for me is nothing.
Right.
So,
Well, you're an elf, so
Exactly. I lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. So
for
40.
me, I feel like it's different because I'm human. So my lifespan is already very, very limited, and I
Just
don't.
got cut in half for you.
I feel like everyone else in this group has very, very large age things.
I mean,
They
I'm in
live
my-
longer, yeah.
Right.
Quite a few of you. I mean, and Azriel is going to outlive all of you unless she dies in some horrible accident somehow.
Don't you just jinx it?
Because elves, right?
we know that my dice luck is great as it is.
Knock on
King
wood.
on top of it. I can't believe this betrayal from family.
Well, this is one of those like interesting moments where there's like the player and there's the character. So like for you, Akerly, because it's going to affect you more because you have such a limited lifespan. What is the player you think, and what is the character you think? What do you think the character you is going to think? You know what I mean? Is it the same, or do you think there's going to be a difference?
I think it's like I already like discussed this like last out of character session, but she's very aware of death, and so I feel like that not really the physical, but that I'm older now, so I have less years now. I'm much closer to death. So it's not so much the age that scares her, but where the age is taking her.
Impending doom.
But yeah. But speaking of the ghost, because the ghost is what sort of spurred this, I'm excited to see where that goes next session. So be able to show up there. Hopefully we don't die, and hopefully we don't stay old. The ghost, Bitsy. Leading up to this encounter with the ghost, we realize a few things. One, in Wicket's vision, we see a symbol similar to that of your ring, right? And then we also see that symbol on the clothing of the ghost. What is Bitsy's reaction to making these connections to this encounters that she's having in this place with her past? What's going through her head now?
Honestly, she's trying to take it one step at a time, which is kind of hard for her.
She's waiting, like Pim said.
Yeah, she's trying to wait and bide her time, which is the hardest thing for her, because the only thing she kind of wants to do is just kind of figure it all out and put all the pieces together and kind of solve the mystery. But that's difficult just because of, everything that happens simultaneously of she has to help these pixies, and she's got to make sure all her friends are okay, and all of a sudden she's locked in a room by herself. But never mind, because Nasriel and Akerly came in behind her, but they've aged mysteriously. And so quite honestly, it keeps getting pushed to the back of her mind, but that's frustrating almost, I feel like, in the sense that all she wants to do is push everything else that's in the forefront to the side and bring what's to the side to the forefront. But what's going through her mind is she feels super close to it, and she just doesn't want it to like fall out of her fingers. I think the scariest thing for her right now is the fact that she's so close and that she might have to walk away. And
like she did with the door and stuff.
Exactly. And this is the bane of her existence. But I feel like it shows how strong she is. But yeah, so it's just a little terrifying for her, but like makes her excited. She's excited and terrified all in once.
Well, then you used the specific wording, she feels super close to it. And if we take you back before you opened this door and realized that you were close to something, you walk through this firewall. And as you walk, you have this vision of this star goddess, right?
Yeah.
And basically what she says to you word for word is you're closer than you've ever been. Now, in the moment of that vision, before you know what you're close to, what was Bitsy's reaction to this being telling her you're closer than you've ever been, and then also your destiny awaits?
Mm-hmm.
How does that make her feel, having such encouragement?
She's feeling encouraged more in the fact that she's following just glowing lines and being
Right, lucky her.
I wish I had that.
She's like, I don't know where this goes, but people keep telling me it's working out for me. So she's just kind of like really happy that like she's trusting this and it's like all working out for her and like falling into place. And these magical beings that she's ran into a couple times are like, go you, you're doing good, you're on the right track. But there's also this feeling of lack of control, this lack of knowing, and someone else has got the control of her destiny. And so I think it's a little interesting mix of trusting and being rewarded for trust, but still, you know, that lack of control, and she doesn't know what's gonna happen in that
Walking blind.
And then also during that whole vision, she's like, my friend's on fire. But she's like trying to pay attention.
Okay,
Hey, can we speed this up?
Speaking of which,
Slightly distracting.
while I was watching the video, can we just all appreciate Rachel's face the second she realizes that she's catching on fire? You catch on fire and this is your reaction. I just watched that video. Dad is like going through the details of, oh, then you catch on fire, and your head just tilts back, and you burst out laughing, and everyone else is like tearing their hair out, and Rachel is just sitting in that corner like, LOL, like, what's the flame gonna do to me? I had to print that out and show you guys what her reaction was.
I want you to know, being so close to Rachel as I am, that we have two very distinct reactions when we laugh. I laugh when I'm in pain. Rachel laughs because, like, of course I'm the one who caught on fire.
That's pretty much what was going through my head was, yeah, this might as well happen.
Speaking of catching on fire, do you think that's going to cause trauma for Pim? Has he had time to process it? Or do you think he's just going to be the type of person to shrug it off?
I think at the moment he's trying to shrug it off. I think there are other things going on, and he's kind of promised to help the Pixies and deal with these things that are going on at the moment. So I think he's trying to kind of set it aside because he just doesn't have time for it at the moment. Right. But I think if we got ourselves into a situation where lots of fire was like part of the problem, he would maybe have some small hesitations, and that would maybe manifest at that point. But I think right now he's trying to just kind of play it off and be like, oh, I'm fine.
Right, and that's what I've realized about your character so far is that you're not one to hesitate. Like, even when we got into the fight with the Talaru, you were like the first one in. You're very quiet when you're very confident, which I liked about your character, but you do not hesitate. But I'm hoping you're not too traumatized later down the road. That was terrifying. I was watching that video, and then I looked at me, and I was literally like.
It was hilarious seeing everyone else's faces when that happened.
Well, you're just cracking up in the corner. But right now you have other things on your mind too. Not only were you caught on fire, but apparently you're cursed too. It has been suggested multiple times that the Talaru have done something to you. Right. First, when you knocked the scepter from the chieftain's hand. And then second, when we go into the astral chamber, as you're catching on fire, you hear that voice again. And then third, when a Nazriel is running with the staff, and it is suggested again that the Talaru have done something to you, and the shaman outright says, you're cursed, you're corrupted. How does Pim feel about that every time he hears the Talaru's voice? And then it's also suggested that something's happened to him. And something's in his head.
I think it's definitely obviously disconcerting. Like, it's something he's worried about, but also I don't think he's fully thought it through yet, because we've been in the middle of a bunch of fights and there's been a lot going on. But I do think it's something that's kind of weighing on his mind a little bit at the moment. I think before joining this party, Pim was kind of at a point in his life where he had sort of settled with, like, I'm just gonna run my boat up and down the river and I'm gonna kind of do my thing, and I think there's like a slight frustration at like, of course this is happening. But I don't think he's fully kind of thought through or understood the weight of what's going on. I think it's still, he doesn't know what's actually happening at the moment.
Right. I'm sure that caused him to be nervous though, deep down. That, like what Bitsy was saying, you have no control, you don't know what's going on. But I had briefly also mentioned Nazriel running with that staff because that was also the moment where the toddler tries to tempt you to go get it. But just real quick, that was a very brief moment where Nazriel is running with that staff. But has a Nazriel ever considered being in the Olympics? I mean, I'm sure this like the magic is probably cheating. Like, I'm sure you can find that in the rule book somewhere. But you sprinted, you were doing javelin. Like, if we ever get into some sports competition, I'm voting you onto that island. So.
Oh, looks like you're muted.
You're muted, Britt.
Sorry, I have a loud family. I totally forgot I muted myself. I said, you want to trust me when I totally beefed the javelin throw?
It's thought that counts.
A for effort.
So I thought you were really clever when you thought of, okay, what are my options? Okay, I got magic. We're going to magic this mess. But that was...
something to know about me is Eladrin's changed seasons. But in spring, we are very, for lack of a better word, impulsive. So it kind of, we mess things up and we fix things immediately, and we mess things up again and we fix them immediately as best as we can. And that kind of defines, at least in Nazriel's spring season, that kind of defines what happens. So that was a very in-character thing that kind of came to me in the moment, especially when Pim started being like, I'm gonna run. I'm like, no, you're not. You were just set on fire. You're cursed. We need to keep you separate from the cursed object. That will probably make the condition worse.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if she's ever considered being in the Olympics.
I don't know if that exists in this world, but I'm
it does sure. Now. You just mentioned it, and I got this picture in my head, and I'm like,
And magic is totally allowed. So.
The Eladrin Games is on the way.
No. On a different note, though, Wicket, you had this vision when Bitsy somehow convinced you to touch that wall. No one in this.
Yeah, it wasn't like convincing. I just said, "Hey, touch it." And she said, "Hey, okay."
That's basically all of your guys' conversations, brief to the point, and yeah, why not?
Yeah, but I feel like Bitsy's the suggester, and Wicket's just like, okay.
I agree.
Actually, though, for whatever it's worth, Bitsy, it was smart. It made a lot of sense. You're like, I'm gonna see if it's just me that can open this or any gnome that can open this. So like in the moment it was like,
it's a very logical thing to do.
Logical way of testing out that.
It's like, oh, we're testing a hypothesis. Okay.
High five.
But why do you think Wicket felt the need to leave out certain things, like the symbol that she saw on the leather-clad gnomes? What was going through Wicket's head, do you think, when she was like, I'm just going to leave out that detail and give them the rest?
I think it's mainly because, I mean, she kind of recognized that as the, like, sorcery symbol, and that's, like, a big bad thing. So, she's grown up hearing. And so I think a little bit it scared her. And it just put her off, and she's like, that's a bad thing. Like, no, that's not important. Let's look past the bad and look at the good. And so
I'm the optimist.
Yeah, so she's like, that's a scary thing. Let's not look at that. Let's not focus on that. That's like a symbol for literally S for scary, So I think she was it put her off, and it kind of scared her in the moment. Just because she's heard lots of bad stories growing up about sorcerers and things, and that looked like the symbol that she like had seen a little bit of growing up, and so she was like, that's terrifying.
Right.
Let's just here, look at the other good guy looking person.
Right. On the note of fear, though, that firewall really just, I think, scared us. And when the shaman fairly finally took it down, and Azrael was like, we were all pretty uncertain. But Bitsy, you were just like head into flame and like ready to walk to that fire and make Wicket put her hands on the wall. But I find it funny because I realized a few things about our group dynamic based on your choices. Back in session 3, it was very brief, but you wanted to drink, but no one in the group would let you. They were stealing your drinks that you had ordered for yourself. And like, oh. And basically the same thing happened here. You were like, I'm gonna walk through the firewall, and the people were like, yeah, no. Why do you think people don't trust you to make decisions? Do you have any theories about why we do that to you?
But then when I say hype bias, I'm sure they don't stop Wicket. I'm pretty sure I'm
Wicket
taller
is
than him.
fun.
I was looking at my description, which I haven't looked at in a while, and I'm pretty sure I'm taller than him, at least by an inch or so. We should look at that. I would be very interested.
You might be.
If anything, though, I think it might just be innocence. Bitsy doesn't know much about this world for unknown reasons, unbeknownst to the group as of now. But she obviously gives that vibe because it's true. She
Right.
doesn't know much. She's very smart. She picks up quickly, but it's that lack of knowledge that I think might just be coming off, and that portrays a lot of innocence and childlikeness, and we just have a whole bunch of mother hens apparently.
We feel the need to protect you. Oh. Like when a kid touches a hot stove and then they never do it again. We just want to keep you from touching the stove in the first place.
But you apparently ended up being the person that needed to walk into that room.
In all fairness, if I remember correctly, I'm the one who finally let her go, right? Because you told me it was your destiny, and I trusted that.
Yeah, I rolled the runes, which I have because of my augury map, and because I was able to do that, it told me it would be fine if I walked in. So it's like, hey guys, 10 out of 10, I'll be okay.
Like if you want to walk into a room that just roasted our other friend alive, give me a good reason. Don't just run in.
Basically, what Britt is saying, that if Bitsy dies, it's gonna be her fault.
Well, I'm sure there will be lots of blame going around if I die, but I don't plan on dying.
Is Bitsy younger than Wicket too, or I know Wicket's
We haven't
shorter.
really had a chance to sit down and really talk about ourselves.
I think you guys are pretty close in age.
Yeah.
You want me to look while you guys
I
talk
feel
about
like-
something? I'll get back to you.
But no. I know I just came into adulthood in gnome years, so.
I know that like Wicket's probably Wicket's 60, so that's like what, the equivalent of 20-ish.
I'm 50, which is just up above that. So you are older than me by like 10
Slightly,
years.
yeah.
But if we're thinking in
I know I'm shorter because I'm 3 feet. And how tall are you?
like 4.
So I'm smaller, but I'm older.
Oh.
And I have experience on my face, so you know, scars.
The scars definitely add.
It makes it so even though I'm a gnome and small, people trust me more than they probably trust you because you're
Right.
innocent.
Little do they.
It could also be like the steampunk thing you got going on, you know, like the kind of woman of the world. I don't know if that's the right way
Yeah,
to put
I
it.
look
You've got this like
capable enough.
the leather and the like fingerless
The
gloves
scars on your
and
face.
right scars all over your face. You're like, she's touched
the
the stove before.
the stud earrings up my ears.
We're like this chick.
For
with
something,
my-
you are taller than me, Maddie.
Okay. How tall are you? I'm 3'9".
At
So
least
I was
in,
wrong.
in my bio thing, it says that I'm 3.5.
3.5. 3'9". So I think I've got
4 inches.
Like 4 inches
4
on you.
Yeah.
So I definitely think Nazriel and Akerly are the tallest in the group.
I actually don't know how tall I am. I just know I'm taller than most of you.
You're taller than
So I've never felt the need to sit and figure out how tall I am because I out tall all of you.
I'm sure it matters more to the gnomes and the halflings about who's taller. But we had a conversation similar to this one, session 6, about who would be the better god. I think we should settle this. I think we should settle this. Because Brent mentioned that Pym would be the better god because he would be fair. But do we want a god that's traumatized, one, and cursed?
And corrupted.
Just because okay, we're in all fairness, everyone is traumatized, and everyone's
Not
favorite god is Loki. So corrupt? I don't know.
I don't know about you.
I don't think Wicket's traumatized.
I said corrupted. And
Wicket's
everyone
like
has their own
Wicked.
traumas.
Throws everything off. I feel like trauma doesn't stick to her like it sticks to everyone else.
It bounces off of me and sticks to you.
Rubber and glue, rubber and glue.
Rubber glue.
Pym
I
is loyal. He's fair. He's kind. He's wise. He likes to wait. I feel like
Literally known him for like 3 days. Let's not go like assigning godship.
He's a serial killer. You guys just haven't figured it out yet.
It's always the quiet ones.
Right.
in
You
all
should see
fairness,
his
when we first were
basement.
talking about things, everyone was like, "Who's seen battle?" Pym and I just looked at each other. And we were like, "We have." Can you see it haunts us in our eyes?
Right, then we'll have to decide on those metrics then. If trauma makes you a better god, or if not.
It just means I can sympathize better with people.
And
Or it makes you
Or-
unstable.
Or in a very D&D fashion. D&D is pretty specific. So there's like lots of gods and you can make them be literally gods of anything, right? Like any domain at all. So you could be
I think we
the
should
god
make
of
Pym the god
trauma.
of fire.
You could be the trauma god.
I feel like he'd fit pretty well into that category.
Then, in that question, would you be god of preventing trauma or assigning trauma? Because then,
Well,
We're both.
I really just feel like we should make you the god of fire. Ironic.
or the god of boats.
He's
Yeah,
terrified
God
of
of
fire.
Right now, Wicked is the god of tinking,
Tinking.
and I am the god of dilly-dallying, even though Akerly never said anything about dilly-dallying in game. That was all out of game.
Mhm.
So it was canon.
Akerly has a chance to be
Technically, I said out of character too.
tinking.
Kinky.
Oh, true. We'll have to decide if that conversation was out of character or in character.
Pretty sure Wicket would know how to say tinkering. Me, on the other hand.
Yeah, but I feel like Wicket is the kind of person who thinks faster than she can actually.
It's true. She might. I mean, I do that, so it's stumbling over the words, and it's probably
Hey, there's
fairly
some
normal.
A quick out of character question though, because I wanted to touch on this because I know a few people in this group do specific things to prepare. I mean, other than Dad, who has to prepare every time, because that's what Game Masters do. Dad and Britt, because I know you guys do specific things to prepare. At least I've heard rumors. What do you guys do to prepare for sessions? Just little things. They don't have to be dramatic. But I was curious what thought process is.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Either way works. A lot of things have to happen first for me, and the big trick is trying to come into the game in a headspace of not just even storytelling, but also, like, to a degree, acting, right? Because I'm going to end up playing like NPCs and stuff. You know, there's like a mindset that you try to go into when you're going to inhabit a character like live in a theatrical way, right?
Mhm.
And so the trick for me has been, and I'm still working it out, is switching from the nuts and bolts stuff that I have to prepare with and going into the mindset of a more kind of theatrical storytelling mode. And that's been a bit of a trick. It's kind of like what is like the thing that makes that sound? What is that sound?
Sigh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know that sound? That's almost what it feels like sometimes when I come out of the nuts and bolts, which is like you like pull your hair out kind of stuff and kind of sink into the now we just got to kind of live this story, which is kind of nice. But so I tried to think of you guys. If I was gonna say any one thing from a GM point of view, I try to spend at least a minute when I can. It doesn't happen before every session, like right before, just kind of pulling your characters up in front of me, looking back at them again, and just trying to get the gist of you all in my brain, because this particular form of storytelling is very improv, very interactive, and again, based around character choices that you all are going to make, but also partly based on the choices you'll make in reaction to stuff I chuck at you. And what I chuck at you, you would want it to be something relevant to your characters, right? So I try to put you in my brain so that as you make choices, now I'm suddenly faced with okay, now what can I chuck that's relevant to them and their choices so far and what I kind of know about them. So just trying to get into your guys' character heads. I feel like I'll get better and better at that as I go, but that's one thing I try to do beforehand.
Right, and Britt, I mean, all of us don't have to do that on such a wide scale. We just have to do it on the one person scale. But what about you, Britt?
As an actor, I'm very method. I get made fun of a lot in this group for this.
Right.
I love my family, super nice people. So just to balance out what I just said, but I do get made fun of a lot for this, especially because over the last few years, I have played a variety of characters in other campaigns that we have done. But I have also been working and a full-time student, and it's hard sometimes for me, both just as a person and a writer and a role player, to go from one thing immediately into the next. So I actually came up with cheats that I use because I am so method when I act. So sometimes, like, yeah, I'm wearing it. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is a little silver pan flute that I actually purchased for the purpose of playing an Asriel who's a bard who has a pan flute. And I only wear it when I play an Asriel or when I'm talking about an Asriel. Anything character choices related, I wear this for because it helps me get in that headspace for that character, and it acts eventually as a trigger. So I have another item of jewelry that I used to use for another character. I've been known to do that with particular songs. So I they're all nodding because they know they made fun of me for having a song once. But I assign things that I only use with specific characters sometimes. And it can be anything from a song, an item that I wear. I think that I also had a phrase for an Asriel. Originally, an Asriel was gonna have a French accent, and then I realized that I'm super camera shy, and I don't think I can keep it up on camera. So I have a killer French accent. You guys will never hear it. But
One day, we'll get it out of you.
one day, when we hit 100 followers, I'll say my key phrase. But yeah, I say something to the effect of. Now I'm embarrassed. But my name is Anastriel. I'm a Kier, and I'm a French Eladrin bard, is what I used to say as I was practicing my French accent. But it got so stuck in me that to get into character sometimes, I'll be muted right before I go into the session, and I'll be saying it in my French accent, even though I don't do a French accent now in the stream. But it immediately gets me into a character's headspace, is assigning something and doing it kind of ritualistically to get me into that character's headspace. The only other preparation I use, you guys again can't see it, but I'm currently sitting in the middle of a jungle I have built around me for the sake of camera and lighting and microphones. But that's pretty much the preparation I use, is I assign something specific to a character, and I only use it when it's related to that character, and it helps me trigger myself psychologically from this is the everyday to I am now in the zone.
Right. I remember the first time I watched you mute yourself and then start talking to yourself. I literally watched you do it, and I was like, what is she doing? But there was those rare moments where you unmuted yourself and you were like singing this song.
Yeah, it's because I had a song, and sometimes people would need me to unmute to say something, and then I'd forget to mute myself as I continued the song. So,
It's the site. That's how I prepare myself. Is I watch her prepare herself.
I'm very
Inspiration.
serious.
Bardic inspiration.
That's how I can inspire you. So, bardic inspiration is a real thing. I have to prep for it, guys.
Very Bard thing to do. Well, I think that's all the time we have, and I think we're on time too. So I'm excited to see where we go from here. Trauma, no gnomes, no gnomes, whatever happens. You
I
know,
prefer names.
I might be 37 forever. We'll see. I hope not.
Wasn't there something mentioned? I don't know if it was at the end of last session or after we had officially gone off the air that could potentially reverse it, but it was like hopeless.
It was a greater restoration spell within 24 hours. So hopefully we find something in
That's
24 hours. Else I'm going to be 37 forever, and in Nazareth we don't know how long.
If it makes you feel better, I watched you age. You aged very gracefully.
Thank you. Thank you. But thank you guys for joining us. Again, our session is tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Mountain. We can't wait to see you guys there. And yeah, so if you guys try to make good choices, if you can't make good choices, make better choices. And if that's not, then just make interesting choices. Something will happen. So
We're talking about hair now, right?
dyeing your hair.
Sorry, that was pre-stream. We were talking about
Right.
dyeing our hair. That was
Dye
pre-stream.
your hair. It's a choice. It's a
Interesting.
valid choice. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.